and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm here. Kate?
Here.
Gladys? Dr. Kron? Dr. Cronin? Lauren?
Here.
Juanita?
Here.
Cynthia? Here. Sherry?
Here.
Sean? Here. Minnie?
Here.
Louisa?
Here.
So we did have Park Avenue School scheduled to present for Spotlight Your School this evening. However, Mr. Krafik is unable to attend, so we will reschedule that presentation at a later date. So,
Lauren, can you take care of public participation?
Sure. The board welcomes public participation and asks that speakers please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit any expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about Board of Education personnel and students, nor against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System.
Thank you. We have nobody signed up. Oh, thanks. Sorry. We have nobody signed up, but is there anybody here who would like to speak at this time? No? Okay. Moving on, we have the consent calendar. Kate, can you take us through that?
I'll make a motion that the Board of Education approve the consent calendar exhibits 26-09 through 26-12 in accordance with those exhibits listed.
I second the motion.
Motion made by Kate, seconded by Al. Is there any questions or discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Do we have any educational staff representatives here today? No? Okay. Student representatives?
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'm your BOG president, Lori Huaman, and today we're just sharing some notes of Danbury High School. And semester 1 just ended, and semester 2 just started with a renewed emphasis on getting the class on time and ensuring that students, ensuring that students don't be using their phones during class. And winter sports have just started again. They're in full effect: boys swims, boy and girl basketball, wrestling, boy and girls indoor track. And
Seniors are getting their college admission decisions, as well as the National Honor Society fall induction was held in December. The DHS annual winter concert was held on December 8th. The music department did a great job and the students performed beautifully.
okay. DHS annual winter concert was held on December 8th. The music department did a great job and the student groups performed beautifully. Musical rehearsals have started for Jesus Christ Superstar. There's more to come on that soon. And LAS testing for ML students is starting on February 9th.
NGSS science testing coming soon. And then at the end of March, we have the SAT testing. All juniors testing window is from March 23rd to March 27th. The robotics team is continuing to win through their CT Robotics League. They're getting ready for regionals and then hopefully nationals. And then our food pantry, which is organized by Ms. Cole, has been growing steadily since we started around Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
I have a quick question for you, if you have a minute.
Yeah.
First of all, you did a great job. Welcome. I do have a question about how the cell phone policy implementation is going. So just based on your experiences, how is that affecting students? How has class environment changed since we put that into effect?
It has positively engaged students in everybody's been more engaged during class, and teachers have been reminding all the students during the beginning of class to put them in the cell phone, like jail box. But yeah.
I feel like without the cell phones, it's a little bit easier to pay attention in class. And at least in my classes and what I've heard from others' experience, it's never really been a problem for students to put the cell phones away or like lock them up. I think especially because we get them back at the end of each block, I feel like it's like, oh, I'll get it back at the end. So it's like the whole day. I don't know. I just feel like it works really well, the system that they have.
Thank you. In a couple months, I'm going to ask you both to give me your thoughts about dress code at the high school as well, okay?
Okay.
All right, so start talking to your friends about it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Okay. Presentation. So the next item on the agenda is a presentation from our own Melissa Hannequin, who's the Executive Director of Danbury Collective, and she's going to give us a little update on what the group is doing and the kind of the purpose of what the collective does.
Awesome. Thank you, Superintendent Casimiro. Welcome to our presentation about the Danbury Collective. My name is Melissa Hannequin, and I am the Executive Director of the Danbury Collective. I am also joined by Grace Molina here, who is our Vice Chair for the collective. I'm very excited to be here tonight to introduce our organization, or reintroduce for those who are already familiar with our efforts. I was here back in the fall of 2024 to present to the board, and I'm here again today to give some updates. And again, for some of the new board members that I haven't had a chance to meet with so far, this is an opportunity to learn a little bit more about what we are up to. And I will direct you to some of the slides up here. Am I going the right way? Yes, okay. Okay, so what is the Danbury Collective? We were formed in 2023 by a committed group of community members interested in starting a collective impact initiative for Danbury, modeled after other Connecticut partnerships like in Stamford and Norwalk. We started as a partnership between the community and the schools, and we have grown to having over 100 community partners in our collective. We are a nonprofit, place-based, cradle-to-career collective impact initiative, which means we are hyper-focused on Danbury. We are led by the community, and we are a network of community members, organizations, and institutions. We work to advance equity together by learning together, aligning, and integrating our actions to achieve systems change. We share power, trust, resources, and an effort to achieve a common purpose, and that common purpose is to improve outcomes for young people in Danbury. United Way of Coastal and Western Connecticut, which has deep roots of over 80 years in Danbury, serves as our backbone organization. We are also a member of the Connecticut Cradle to Career Coalition, which includes 5 Cradle to Career initiatives throughout Connecticut. That includes us, the Danbury Collective, Stamford Cradle to Career, Bridgeport Prospers, Norwalk Acts, and Waterbury Bridge to Success. I'll talk a little bit more about our coalition in a moment. And then we are also a member of Strive Together, which is a national network of over 70 place-based Cradle to Career organizations with representation from states including Connecticut all the way to California, Texas, Wisconsin, New York. Lots of states have these Cradle to Career initiatives, and being part of the Strive Together national network affords us the opportunity to learn alongside those other partners, many of which are communities that have been in place for many years. So although we are new, again, formed in 2023, we are able to learn from those who have been in their communities a lot longer. And again, if you're familiar with the work that we do, some of this will be a refresher, but I appreciate you taking a moment to reorient to what we are all about. So our mission is led by the community. We work collectively to foster positive, measurable, and sustainable life outcomes for Danbury children, families, and young adults. Our vision is that all Danbury children, families, and young adults have full and equitable access to opportunities to be successful and thrive in life. And when we talk about being a Cradle to Career initiative, it means that we are really focused on putting all the pieces of the puzzle together from the moment that a child is born, as well as supporting families before their children are born, all the way up to career and affording them a life where they are not just succeeding, but also thriving. Here is just a quick visual of who is part of the Danbury Collective. It's very important for us to share how people get involved. And you'll see here that not only do we have nonprofit organizations and city institutions who sit at our quote-unquote table, but we also have parents and families, community members, and ultimately very excited to get students directly involved in the work that we're doing very soon. I want to take a moment to talk about our organizational structure. Again, to give you a little bit of a glimpse into who is involved in the work we're doing, but most importantly, how we work to shift power to community members as we advance our efforts. Oops, sorry about that. So first of all, we have an advisory council which guides our strategy and actions, serves somewhat like a board of directors if we were a standalone nonprofit organization. This council includes key nonprofit organization leaders. It includes a proxy for the mayor, the Board of Education chair, the superintendent, as well as some other school leaders, and community members as well. And the reason I want to quickly highlight that is because we have 3 permanent seats for parent representatives to sit on our council who can ensure that community voice is really listened to when we are making decisions as a collective. Very excited to share that in 2025, we appointed our first 2 parents to our council. They joined in the fall, and it has been a really great experience to have their voices guiding the work we do. We are getting ready to fill that 3rd seat in a few weeks, I hope. And then we also have 3 educator representative seats available. We do not have any of those filled, so this is also a little bit of a plug. If you have any educators that might be interested in a leadership opportunity and also the work that we're doing, we are currently seeking interested candidates and referrals for all 3 seats. Our goal is to get representation from a variety of grade bands and children's ages, so keep that in mind. We're looking for early childhood, elementary, middle, and high school representation. We also have over 100, as I mentioned, general members, which ranges from parents and community members to nonprofit and agency staff. And something that's really exciting about the work we do is that people can join into what we're doing at any moment. There's a lot of different entry points, so people can get involved as simply as joining our newsletter, or they can also come to our working group meetings as well as our community events. So lots of ways for people to get involved and stay involved if they like to. I'll run through these pretty quickly. I know I don't have too much time, but I think it's important to mention our guiding principles and pillars of the work we do. You've heard me say some of these words already, but they're up on the screen as well. And these are the guiding principles of the collective impact model for systems change. These, on the right-hand side, are Strive Together's pillars, and you'll see they complement each other. But all of these guide all aspects of the work that we do, leading to our emphasis on collaboration, sharing power, community voice, and elevating lived experience of those who live in our community. A little bit more about the Cradle to Career model. You'll see up on the screen here, Strive Together's 7 Cradle to Career outcomes, and it ranges from kindergarten readiness all the way up to employment, with very important milestones throughout those stages. All with the end goal of economic mobility. So we are really focused on ensuring that young people have the experiences throughout their education to really be on a pathway to economic mobility. We know that that opens up many growth opportunities and future success for young people. So that is our ultimate goal if we are talking about a systems change approach. We also report disaggregated data to Strive Together annually. So on these 7 outcome areas, we do submit data to them. Almost all of this is publicly available data from EdSite, but we do compile all of it and disaggregate it for different populations and report it out to Strive Together. I do want to say that something that was really exciting that I saw when reviewing last school year's data was the year-over-year improvement in many of these student outcome areas, particularly in early grade reading and middle grade math. I really noticed that bump up from the prior year and really getting back on track to what pre-COVID levels looked like of achievement for students in Danbury. So kudos to the district and to the city on those improvements. In addition, I mentioned that we are part of the Connecticut Cradle to Career Coalition. Through that coalition, we engage in shared learning across the 5 organizations. It's really nice that we can learn from other organizations who have done the things that we're trying to do, and we don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel for all topics, but rather take best practices and adapt them to our needs in Danbury. We also advocate for policies that advance education, economic, and health equity. We currently have a policy and advocacy subcommittee, which is made up of community members from our 5 cities. And those community members provide perspective on what our policy agenda should look like. Very excited to share that in addition to some parents and community members who sit on that committee from Danbury, we also have 2 Danbury High School students who are currently participating, and thank you to Associate Superintendent Brady Johnson, who has brought those students into the fold with our work. And these are students who are aligning what they're experiencing with us to some of the civic engagement work in their academy. We will soon release our 2026 policy priorities, and I'm happy to share those once we have those ready. Now, touching on our current priorities, you'll see here we have 4 priorities that we've generally focused on. So these are chronic absenteeism and learner engagement, early childhood education, youth mental health, and civic engagement. These are focus areas that have been part of our work since day one. They came out of a community needs assessment as well as focus groups that we did with community members and students as the most pressing topics for young people in Danbury. We have working groups that are comprised of cross-sector stakeholders who meet generally on a monthly basis around these topics and do everything from learning together, hearing from guest presenters, as well as identifying actions that we can take that are coordinated that will advance these outcome areas. I'm almost done, sorry. 3 more slides. So just a quick visual here to show some of the key milestones that our group achieved in 24-25. I'm not going to read all of them because some I've already mentioned, but I will highlight that we launched a community-wide campaign to reduce chronic absenteeism. We were also selected by the Nellie Mae Education Foundation to participate in a regional viability study to guide future investment, and we give a lot of good information to them across many, many pages of research and ideas about what's happening in Danbury. And Nellie Mae has really been excited about the work we're doing. They've also invested in the Danbury Public Schools for many years as well, so Danbury is definitely on their radar. We provided a 6-part civic engagement training series for community members that attracted over 100 participants. As part of our first state policy agenda last year, we coordinated written and public testimonies on 22 bills across the 5 Cradle to Career organizations. One of the things I'll say when we are training community members in civic engagement, we are really training them to be civic leaders and get in front of places like the Board of Education and feel confident speaking about things that matter to them. So it's really about giving them the tools to then speak up on issues that are important to them. A quick visual here, which many of you will be familiar with. This is just a snapshot of what chronic absenteeism has looked like in Danbury Public Schools over the last 3 years. So you will see on the right-hand side some of the great progress that's been made by the district and the community in reducing the number of students who are chronically absent. Something that's really exciting you'll see in school year 24-25 at the start of the year, that percent of chronically absent students is miles below what it was at the start of the 22-23 school year. And as you heard the last time I presented, if you were here about a year and a half ago, we have communally done a lot of work to train community members and families on what chronic absenteeism is, as well as how to get support. And we believe that our efforts have complemented the work that the district is doing to combat chronic absenteeism. And we are looking forward to transitioning that group to not just be focusing on chronic absenteeism, but to also look at learner engagement and how we can improve that in the schools here in Danbury. So with that, my last notes here are just about what's next and how you can get involved, and community members who might be listening, how they can get involved in the work that we're doing. So these are just some of the things that we have coming up next. We are growing our own organizational infrastructure and capacity. We are also moving our efforts, as I mentioned, from chronic absenteeism to learner engagement, and really doing both of those things. We're also looking at improving our efforts around kindergarten readiness in collaboration with many of the early childhood stakeholders in town. We are continuing our civic engagement work, and most exciting, I think, to share tonight is that we will be launching a youth civic influencers program in a few months, which will be a small pilot cohort of youth ranging from ages 16 to 24 who will go through this leadership academy, if you will, with us and hear from guest presenters and really guide what the curriculum could look like for future civic engagement efforts. And then finally, something that we are working on, I think in collaboration with the district, is really bringing attention to the great work that's happening here in Danbury Public Schools, particularly the academies of Danbury. We've been excited to bring a few guests to tour the space and also feel that we have some ways to tap into state and national networks. And I think it's a hidden gem, the work that's happening with the academy. So we, as a collective, really want to draw attention to that and put it on the national stage, what everyone is doing here, because it's certainly an effort that could be done in other places. So with that, you'll have my information up here. We have lots of ways that you can get involved, even again from an awareness perspective on social media as well as our newsletter. So I thank you so much for your time today and for all you do to support children and families in Danbury, and also happy to answer any questions if you have them for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody on the board have any questions? Kate?
Melissa, thanks so much for presenting to us again this evening. Always good to hear from you. I had a quick question about the Policy and Advocacy Committee you were talking about, which is in alignment with the other 4 or 5 Cradle to Career groups in Connecticut.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what the advocacy looks like? Is that a state level thing? Is that federal? Is it local?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do a little bit of all of those. So at the local level, that looks less the work that we do as a coalition and more what we are doing specifically as the collective. So we do have those touch points with the mayor, and I do hope that we can get a little bit more involved in that local policy advocacy. Most of the work we've done has been at the state level. And what that looks like is meeting with our local delegation and coming up with this legislative agenda that will not only serve the families in our community, but across the state. As you know, we're collective impact, so we do believe that bringing people together and aligning efforts will lead to greater impact. So that's what we're doing at the state level. We are also going to be having a legislative breakfast in March that will kind of reintroduce the coalition because it's been in existence for a few years, but it's really right now being reinvigorated. So that is happening in March, and all of our elected officials will be invited to attend that. And then finally, at the federal level, last year we did go to Washington, D.C. For a policy summit through Strive Together and had the opportunity to meet with both federal delegates, so both senators' offices, to just talk about the work that we're doing and elevate some of the issues that we see in each of our communities. So Danbury was certainly included there. Yes, thank you for the question.
Anybody else have any questions? Minnie?
So I did have a question about the kindergarten readiness. So what is it different you plan to do going forward?
Yeah.
We've seen a lot done, but what is it, something
Yeah.
different you decide to do?
That's a great question, and Grace, if you want to chime in, feel free. I will say that what we have talked about in our early childhood working group, which is comprised mostly of early childhood providers and leaders in the community, we have been really focused on identifying what the issue is. So we've been hearing from preschool providers and educators what challenges they may be seeing with their children right now. And then we're trying to really grow that relationship between the providers and then going at the school level. So once it comes time for kindergarten. But Grace, want to add anything?
No, I mean, I think that's been the bulk of the work till now. Really just creating connections and opportunities for our daycares, Head Start, school readiness to collaborate with the schools, with the registration office, with the Office of Family Partnerships, and a few other departments, just to have an understanding of what kindergarten readiness is,
what that really looks like, how parents can support that, how providers can support that. So that itself has been really the bulk of what's happening now, and just finding kind of those connection opportunities. And like I said, really defining what it means to be ready for kindergarten. And now that we have our kindergarten early entry process underway for the second year, that's really given us a window to parents that are interested in early entry for kindergarten to have those conversations with their kids.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Minnie, for that question.
Any other questions from the board? No?
I just want to say thank you to the both of you. The collective has allowed a whole nother networking level, access to a networking level that we didn't have before, prior to joining and prior to this being something that we're doing together as a community. So I appreciate the work that you're doing. I appreciate how you keep me informed on items that I might not have otherwise been exposed to, but also, again, the network that we're building. And we've been exposed to philanthropists and lots of other folks that are very interested in what we're doing, and have experience too that can also help us. So it's a wonderful group of people that have been getting together, and thank you for your leadership. And Grace, you're like everywhere these days, so you're just about on every committee. We appreciate the work that you do and what it brings to the district. So thank you both.
And thank you for your collaboration. This has
Yes.
been great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Casimiro for the superintendent's report.
Okay, so a couple items, not too many items on my side, but the first one is a really important one. As you know, we have a board workshop scheduled for February 5th, where we'll get into digging into the details about the budget. I think it's important to talk a little bit about what we've been doing in the background to get ready for that workshop, and how we're maybe building a different budget than we have in the past. The group, many of the folks who are here in the room at this table, have been in long, arduous, somewhat at times painful meetings to continually scrutinize our budget, how we budget, and how we're going to continue to grow the Danbury Public Schools with in a fiscally responsible manner in collaboration with the city, but also that moves us forward. The last couple of years have been, I'm going to use the word tumultuous, in the sense that we've had ups and downs with one-time money, we've had ESSER money, ARPA money, we've had a quick increase, an acceleration in our ECS funding of $9 million. So there's been a lot of volatility and a lot of opportunity in the budget. We also know that we've turned up surpluses in the last couple of years repeatedly, and that needs to be analyzed and scrutinized so that we are making sure that the budget is being used in the most efficient and effective way possible. Certainly being behind 3 years in audits played a role into that, and the team has worked incredibly hard to catch up with the city on those audits, to create a place that feels a little bit more stable in terms of the vision and the picture that it paints for how we're going to move forward. We have been scrutinizing some areas in our budget where some of those surpluses have occurred. In some places, it is persistent vacancies. And when I say persistent vacancies, not all of our vacancies are persistent. There's a small category that seems to be persistent. That's in one bucket. We have hard-to-fill vacancies, vacancies that are just a little bit more difficult to fill on a regular basis. And then we have the normal churn of a large district where people come and go. And at any given point, we can have just general vacancies across in our system on an annual basis. And so in looking at some of our surpluses and looking at some of those staffing areas, and also more importantly, considering how we're budgeting for benefits across all areas, we're doing a lot of hard internal scrutinization about our practices, how we account for those vacancies, but also understanding our patterns at a much deeper level. And then, as you'll find when we get into our budget workshop, how we're going to account for those responsibly as we consider what our ask is to the city. In addition to that, we're down almost 600 students. It was about 500 at the mark in October, and it is going down, and that seems to now be trending a bit. So we're very much watching those numbers, and again, analyzing what the impact to that is across the system incrementally, and making some adjustments. On top of that, we've just negotiated how many contracts, Kim?
5 non-certified and 1 certified and a piece of another.
Right, and we have an executive session tonight to talk about one of the last ones that have come in. So there's been a tremendous amount of movement in the last couple of months just on those, accounting for those contractual increases, but then also, what that looks like rolling forward. So I think when we get into the workshop, I think the board will be maybe pleasantly surprised at how we've scrutinized that and what our ask to the city will be. Maybe not as, maybe as large as it has been in the past, taking into consideration some new ways that we're approaching our budgeting process, but also, the idea that we need to sort of stabilize our budget. It's been in great movement over the last couple of years, so that we can get a clearer picture and then incrementally move forward to continue to build. We opened up this building this year. We're still understanding the patterns of all of our expenses, even just related to this very large campus. So that's coming into picture. So we look forward to presenting that to you next week. On the 5th, for the workshop, we'll have another finance meeting during a budget discussion during the finance meeting on February 9th. February 10th is our board meeting, where we hope to have all of that buttoned up. If not, there's a little bit of room in there, not too much, for some more discussion. And then our budget number is due to the mayor by, I believe, February 15th, but we've got a couple holidays on the city side before that, so we'll try to get that over. So I just wanted to kind of point those things out. I know maybe you're hoping for a number tonight, but it's a complex plan that we're moving forward, and we think it's the due diligence of walking you through that in detail is best served in the workshop next week.
I just want to let my board know that the amount of work that they are putting into this is amazing. And I want to thank Dr. Casimiro, Mike, and I saw Joanne pop in, and the whole finance team between the city and the district that have been working till all hours, and the cabinet too, in putting this budget together. So I look forward to seeing the presentation and everything that you're doing, but make no mistake that there is a lot of work going into this. And this is, it's something very different, and I really appreciate all the work that everybody's doing. Thank you.
And like I said, the cabinet team, I've held them hostage for a while over the last couple of weeks, and everyone is scrutinizing all of the department budgets and staffing, and Joanne is in the back there. Joanne, I would normally say you look tired, but you do look tired, and that is because of us. So thank you for your help, and it's been helpful to have different eyes on our budget. And again, we've had a lot of folks. We've been very collaborative across the board with our team and with the city as well, as we work to kind of put the final touches on where we think we're going to nail this down and button it up.
Dr. Casimiro, we were copied on an email that went out about a survey to parents and guardians and families. Are there any insights you could share with us about that prior to the?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. So I would have to say the survey didn't look too different than the responses that we've received in the past. Parents always are, one of their top priorities is always safety and security, making sure that their children are safe. After-school programs, parents really like after-school programs. Class size, the survey was very mixed. So we sent it out to families, we sent it out to staff, we sent it out, kind of community-wide. Teachers want smaller class sizes and more supports. Parents want more after-school and programming. Operationally across the system, people want more operational support to to be able to work the programs that they're responsible for. So it was really sort of balanced across, but again, not too different than what we've seen. But the good news is that folks have engaged and they've shared their voice. The safety and security is very important. We also are trying to move the school system, so we're trying to raise the level of expectation. No secret, Danbury will be the best urban district in Connecticut. I'll say it many times. We're going to go probably nationwide soon if we keep this. But to do that, you can't just maintain status quo. So you have to push on the system academically. That takes resources, that takes training, that takes skill building, that takes capacity building. And it takes sustained effort and leadership across multiple systems to move the needle even incrementally. We did move the needle heading into this year, but to keep doing that, you have to keep that up. So it's not a one-time thing. Our students need supports, but our district is changing a little bit. We're seeing a little glimmer of some changes, and we'll adjust to those changes. We know we want to increase support and resources. But I will say this, I think you can all quote me on the number of kindergarten paras that that I believe we need. I think last year I asked for 45, or that was one of the goals. But right now we can't hire 45. We can't hire the ones that we have on the books now. And so part of our ask and our staffing plan for heading into next year is a responsible approach to incrementally gradually bringing some of these folks who are sitting in vacancies on over time. The good news is that that's starting to happen, right? We've negotiated some of these contracts, and I don't think, maybe I thought the floodgate was going to come in, within a couple of weeks, and we'd have 100 new paraprofessionals that we've had vacancies on in the past, but that didn't happen. But Kelly just, I think 20, right? We just brought 20. That's a lot. That's good. So we're making, there's a lot of effort behind the scenes in bringing people in. And it's going to happen slowly over time as we just renegotiated contracts, made them more attractive to folks. It's not going to happen overnight as word gets out. We'll stop maybe hopefully losing staff and slowly start to attract staff into the district. So, asking for 45 paras this year, and expecting to get those, and then having those salaries and benefits sit on our books, only to be, only for to have that turn into a surplus or something is not productive. And so we're just approaching it slowly and more incrementally over the next couple of years, and we're taking it there. So yes, lots of supports are wanted and needed, and we'll address those in the budget over the next couple of years instead of one fell swoop.
Can you just let people know who Joanne is, for those of people on the board who don't know where she works, and
Sure.
those people that are listening to talk about that collaboration that's going on?
Sure. Joanne is an Assistant Finance Director for the city, Joanne Stark, and she has a guru, quite the guru, over on the city side, and then as we have been a financial guru, and then as we have kind of worked through the audits, the relationship has started to build, and the support for helping both sides really to get out of this big audit hole that we had on both sides. And when you're doing reports and in the audits, there's reports and collaboration needed on both sides of the aisle, and so Joanne really served as the bridge between all of that. We also have a lot of new folks in our district on the finance office. Mike is now our 5th CFO in just a short couple of years. We have a new finance business team in the background. I'm still relatively new at my job in this role. And so having added supports and connections in City Hall with some additional expertise has been beneficial to all of us. I know our staff has been thankful for the added support and communication, and we've been, actively running things by one another as a team now for a good couple of months at least in this school year, and then last year with the audits as well. So it's been helpful and appreciated. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So that is it on budget. family engagement update. So Ann Mead could not attend tonight, but she did send some items that she wanted to make sure that we all heard. So there is a save the date for Family University on Saturday, April 25th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., with a focus on farm to school and our school gardens. We've been doing a lot of work on that. It's been so much fun. A series of workshops will be held for families in K for kindergarten and grades 5 to 6 transitions. The Parent Seeking Educational Excellence, or PSEE, and more information on the academies. There's a community evening event Tuesday, February 10th from 6 to 8. We have Laura Mead. She'll be here to talk a little bit about that information at Western Connecticut State University in the ballroom. And I'll wait till Laura comes up to talk when I call her up next. The Connecticut Food Bank food truck is at Ellsworth School every other Wednesday, and the next date it will be February 11th. It is open to anybody in Danbury. And the last for the last food truck distribution, we had over 275 families attend. Those food trucks are a lifeline to so many. The Office of Family, School, and Community Partnerships partnered with Looks Realty, Discovery, Danbury, and Candlewood Lake, Yardscapes, and the Clothes Closet. They were able to provide warm coats, gloves, hats, mittens, socks, and sneakers for over 300 families. If families need further warm clothing or food, the Care Closet is also available to families, and the center is open from 8 to 4 daily. So that is Ann's update and report. Okay. And then lastly, under the other general information, I'd like to call Dr. Laura Mead up to talk to us a little bit about something very exciting that our team has been planning in the background and Laura's been leading. I could have passed them off right earlier, sorry.
And I will be very quick. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Laura Mead. I have been in the district for over 33 years. I was born and raised in Danbury, went K through 12 in Danbury. My children all went K through 12 in Danbury. My husband went K through 12 in Danbury. So we are very committed to Danbury. What I'm here to speak to you about tonight is very exciting. I put together a little packet. If you take it out, I'll just kind of go through the pages. I'm not going to read this first one to you, but the first one is really kind of a briefing of what is happening. Super, super excited. The Space Foundation has reached out to us, actually reached out to Dr. Casimiro, and she passed it on, and we have just taken it and run with it. My boss and I, Melissa Nadeau, and it's so exciting. So with the Pettit Family Foundation, this is all coming to our district free of charge, which is also, always good to hear, but a super, super exciting experience for our kids. So on this first page, you'll see the highlights. We actually have an astronaut, Captain Winston Scott will be coming. They are spending the week here with us. We'll have 3 educators from the Space Foundation in addition to Captain Scott. And he has a very, very packed week. There will be 8 presentations at the elementary schools, 8 different elementary schools. We unfortunately couldn't go to all of the elementary schools just due to timing and the amount of time it takes for these presentations. So for the 3 schools who cannot attend for 2nd through 5th grade, we will be busing the 5th graders over to one of the schools because this is actually in their curriculum. So it's really just such an awesome experience to them. So they will be having a presentation from Captain Scott, and then afterwards the 5th graders will actually get to do a hands-on lunar colony design challenge. They are bringing all the materials, and we are just, like I said, so super excited about it. The teachers will be engaged with this. They will co-facilitate with all of us. This week I will be sending out the lesson plans to the teachers so they can see. And then, as you can see, just in case anyone would like to participate, I kind of put a brief schedule in there, but you can always reach out to me if you need any further details of where Captain Scott and the Space Foundation will be throughout the week doing the presentations. And on Tuesday, February 10th, it will be a high school leadership and mentorship experience at Danbury High. Captain Scott will be doing the presentation for about 50 high school students. And then afterward, we are doing it's called speed mentoring. Mentors will be set up very much if you had come to the Dome when we did when we were launching the academies and all of the partnerships were there. It was a great experience for the high schoolers. We are looking for, and this is where I'm going to kind of plug for a little bit of help, we are looking for local businesses, companies, partnerships, anybody who's, preferably involved in the STEM fields to come and help mentor. Right now, we currently have 10 mentors that are set. I've been working with Janine Greaves, who is from the Space Foundation in Colorado. We've actually become very good friends over this. And she has 10 mentors so far. It would be great if we could double that. I reached out to Dr. Seelig to help us out with that. So hopefully within the next week, but if anybody knows of any connections you have, reach out to me and I'll get to them, because the more mentors we have, just the better for our students. And then the really exciting piece, as Dr. Casimiro was talking about, we have an evening event at Western Connecticut State University. They have partnered with us, and it will be from 6 to 8. Captain Scott will be there, give a presentation. Then there will be several activities for all the community members to go to. We are inviting our robotics team, who was second in the world. We'll be inviting them to do a little demonstration at the ballroom up at WestCon. And also after his presentation, there'll be a meet and greet so the kids can take pictures. They'll have, if you actually go to the second little packet I gave you, this was the press release that has gone out. Mike Seelig has given me many of the names, so this press release went out to several locations and is out there. Ann, Mead, and Grace have been helping me also get the word out to our own community. You can see the page with Captain Scott. This is him and a little bit of his bio. And then the last piece is Outer Space Comes to Danbury. I would be remiss if I didn't mention, actually, I have an educator possibly for you, Mr. Ian Wendell, who is a 5th grade teacher at Park Avenue, absolutely amazing, jumped on board with me. He and I were the only two in Danbury Public Schools on the meet with the space community on Monday, which I was a little late to because I might have been shoveling for 3.5 hours. So this is the event at Western. Please, 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 it will be going out, right here it says click here, because we know for our parents who get things on the phone, you can't do a QR code and the phone, so Ian was really upfront thinking and put the link here, so that will be going out to all of our families in Danbury Public Schools for them to sign up. It would be wonderful to see you there, although I did hear you say February 10th board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't think you can come, I'm sorry. But please feel free to join us at one of the schools opportunities, and please feel free to reach out to me with any other information. Did I make the 5 minutes?
All good though, Laura. Listen, thank you. Every time I've passed by Melissa's office, you guys are in there hard at work on planning this. There's just so much that has gone in to developing all these activities and the coordination logistics, so thank you so much. And just a shout out to President Bernal. We've had a great start to our relationship since he's come on, and we've been opening doors with each other for access, and so they're definitely partnering with us on this one, so they were very gracious. So thank you for all the hard work, and we want lots of pictures. All right, thanks, Laura. Okay. All right, so that is it under the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Okay, so we're starting to get into our committees. So I'll open it up if anybody who's had a committee this month would like to give any kind of reports. Anybody? Go ahead, Sean.
The Sites and Facility meeting in March 17th is going to be moved to March 25th at 6 o'clock at Haystown, at which point, as I speak right now, Rich Jalber and Sean Hanley will take us around the school to point out stuff, and we can see and hear about the process and learn about the process of how work orders get done and how it gets separated between the city and the school system.
What time is the meeting?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock? Okay. Thank you.
25th at Haystown. It's in conjunction with our meeting.
Perfect. Perfect. Anybody else? No? Okay, we will move on. Action item A. Lauren, could you read that for us?
Sure. I make a motion that the Board of Education accept for second reading and adoption policy 5144.1, physical restraint, seclusion, exclusionary timeout as recommended by the policy committee and in accordance with 26-13.
Motion made by Lauren. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Al. Any discussion or questions? None? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Action item B, Cindy?
B policy 5145, that's 14, on-campus recruitment. Motion that the Board of Education accept this second reading and adoption policy 5145.14, on-campus recruitment as recommended by the policy committee and in accordance with 26-14.
Thank you, Cindy. Motion made by Cindy. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Lauren. Any discussion? Questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Action item C, Sherry?
I make a motion that the Board of Education accept the second reading and adoption policy 5145.511, sexual abuse prevention and education programs as recommended by the policy committee and in accordance with 26-15.
Motion made by Sherry. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Al. Any questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Action item D. Sean, can you do that one for us?
I motion that the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 school calendar in accordance with 26-16.
Motion made by Sean. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Sherry. Do I have any questions or comments? Oh, Kate?
I just wanted to bring forward, we've had in the past couple of years, some students that have come into the boardroom to ask for consideration to make Eid a recognized holiday on our calendar. Dr. Casimiro, can you just give us some feedback on that? I'm just wondering where we are, because I don't see it on the calendar here.
No, it is not made it on the calendar. We have had some discussion about it, along with many other holidays that have kind of come forward, maybe not as prominently as Eid has come forward. One of the questions that we had around the holiday in and of itself was the fact that it does move with the moons as well. So it is a little bit harder to plan Eid, but also, the discussion around some other holidays, particularly I had a mother, parents of a Jewish student. There was 2 other Jewish holidays that was requested to be recognized. I'd have to go back and look at what those were again, but, and if they weren't recognized, if there could be the request was around having some sensitivity culturally around when certain holidays happen across the year, and if we can be more sensitive to tests, projects, and field trips and things that we schedule. So we haven't moved forward on acknowledging further additional holidays, but I think it's something that as we take that into consideration, you'd have to look at the school calendar, the length of the school year, and how adding one also invites other discussions about other holidays that have been requested. And so we would have to really be thoughtful about what that does to our calendar, and at what point do we while trying to accommodate all of their requests, put severe constraints on the school calendar and the system. So I just don't think we're there yet. We've had Three Kings come up, we've had a few others as well, and so we'd have to take that into consideration. And so, if that was something the board wanted to study very seriously at a much deeper level, then we can certainly do that. We just haven't made moves on that because it's not just Eid, it's just a series of others as well that you'd have to consider to be fair and equitable.
So just as a follow-up, when you talk about, the cultural sensitivity piece and what we can do within the district, if we can't formally, create a day off for students, which I understand those other concerns, are there internal policies or regulations that we could follow that would offer some consideration to students who might be fasting or, going to religious events or things of that nature?
Yeah. And, we could certainly pull any particular policies that might apply to this, but that's really more about regulations underneath. And I do believe we have excused absences for religious holidays, so that's never been an issue, although it's more about the sensitivity around academic expectations and planning events around those holidays so that all students can be included. And that could come through a different format. And we could certainly talk about that in policy to help inform, how we lay out communications to the schools around those areas. We can certainly do a better job at that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? No? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Action item E, Al?
I make a motion that the Board of Education accept the December 2025 financial report as recommended by the Finance Committee in accordance with 2026-2027 school calendar in accordance with Exhibit 26-17.
Motion made by Al. Do I hear a second? Second by Kate. Any questions or discussion? No? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Thank you. Okay, motion carries. Action item E. Minnie?
I make a motion that the Board of Education recommend to the City Hall to update the members of the school board building committee to reflect new board leadership members, Louisa Britton, board chair, and Sean Ratchford, Sites and Facility Committee chair.
Motion made by Minnie. Do I hear a second? Second by Lauren. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we're going to go to board chair's report. Okay. Sorry. Okay. First thing I want to talk about, Kate and I attended the DSABC Mentor Breakfast, which was for mentors, new mentors, and it was a great experience. Kate and I are new mentors now, and it was great to just hear the guest speaker that was there and just kind of connect with other mentors, and it's a wonderful program, and if anybody has the opportunity to mentor, please do so. Okay, a reminder that we have some changes in our board meetings for February, so don't look for Wednesday meetings. First one is February 10th, which is a Tuesday. The second one is February 23rd, which is a Monday. Okay. We are going into full board budget season. Just a couple of things. We're going to have some really in-depth, spirited discussions moving through the workshops and finance, and we may not all agree on, things that come up, but that's okay. It's all right. I only ask that we be respectful of each other, understand that everybody around this table has a voice, we should all be heard, and that we just take the time to be courteous, to be, self-awareness of our tones when we speak, and just be respectful of each other, okay, and our opinions, okay? I also had a question brought up about attending non-committee committee meetings if you are not a member of that committee. And I will say, when I am not on a committee, I still attended those meetings. I think it's really important to kind of listen in on what's going on. A lot of information comes through committee, and then we vote on them during our board meetings. So it just makes for a more educated approach to vote your votes and the information. A lot of the ones on Zoom are recorded, so if you can't make that meeting, go back and you can play it at your leisure. You know, you could just have it on in the background sometimes, and you could just listen to what's happening. But I always feel it's important to, if you're not a member of that committee, to still kind of log on and find a way to kind of get yourself updated on what's happening, all things board related. Okay? And that is it for me this week. So I am going to move on to the next part of our agenda, which is board communications and comments. So I'm going to open it up to board members if they have anything that they've been doing the last couple of weeks that they'd like to share. Anybody? Go ahead, Kate.
I went over some of this at the Community Relations Committee meeting, so I'm not going to belabor the point, but I just mentioned that last week on Thursday, Sherry and I both attended the CABE Legislative Breakfast over in Newtown. And it was a great opportunity to talk to some of our local legislators about the issues that we see going on and the support we're looking for as they go into session. Session is opening February 4th. So we should look to use our voices collectively and advocate for our educational goals now until the end of session. And then there was also the School and State Finance hosted a State of the Student Day on Saturday, and that was a great opportunity to hear from both the students and educators around the state on the issues that are important to them. Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Okay.
Hi, Louisa.
Yes, Juanita.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want
Thank you, Juanita, and I just want to let the board know Juanita is officially our CABE liaison. As we spoke of it, CABE reached out and all the boards of education are delegating one board member to be that liaison, and Juanita was gracious enough to accept and bring all things CABE back to the board for us. So thank you, Juanita. Okay, if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next item. I need somebody to make the motion to go into executive session. Who would like to make the motion? I'll make the motion. Oh, you want to make the motion? Okay, thanks, Lauren.
I'll make a motion that the Board of Education recesses into executive session for the purpose of discussing the negotiations of a successor agreement between the Danbury Board of Education and United Public Service Employees Union, Local 424, Unit 94, with possible action in public session.
Thank you. Motion made by Lauren. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Al. Any questions right now? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we're in executive session.